us on Instagram.
Better follow me
at Philly Jam 95.3 FM.
Good evening and welcome to The Rebirth. I'm your host, Shay Marriott, and you are listening to The Rebirth on Philly Jams 95.3. Joining me tonight is my co-host.
Yes. Hey. Can I hear myself? I hope y'all can hear me.
I can hear
It's
you.
your boy Eli Isabel, a.k.a. The South. Got something to say. Happy Monday, Rebirth family. Philly Jams 95.3. Shay Marriott. What's up, boo?
Hey, what's going on? Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for
know.
tuning in. How was your
Listen,
weekend?
My weekend was cool. I had a safe Saturday morning football game I attended, high school.
Right. How about
And
that?
then I did a lot of what I like to do, nothing. Saturday was a beautiful day, though. Do
Saturday
you recall?
was.
It was like perfect.
You know, I have issues remembering my weekends. But today, I was like, I know he's going to ask me, so I'm going to make sure.
He's right there. Text yourself.
Right? Saturday was a beautiful day.
How was
It
your
definitely
weekend?
was.
What did you engage in?
My weekend was very full, and it was awesome. You know, not that I didn't know this, but I have an amazing circle of friends. I really do. And it was just an extension of another birthday celebration.
Oh, you still getting it in.
So some of the people that was not able to make it to Miami wanted to, celebrate me, and so I went to dinner, I think twice this weekend.
Okay.
And then I also went to the Battle of the Bands.
How was that? Did Lincoln and you represent?
Lincoln was not. Wait a minute. It was
Lincoln was
Howard.
there, right?
Lincoln wasn't there.
Lincoln wasn't there?
It was only 3 bands this year. It was Virginia State, Howard, and Delaware State.
Oh, that event probably was beneath us, so we were probably in somewhere else.
You know what? No, because the last time y'all
you.
showed up,
Yes.
y'all came with a half a band.
Well, we only had 15 band members that year. Don't worry about it. That's because we knew COVID was coming. We didn't want to bring
That's
all
what
the
it
people out
was?
there.
Okay.
Yeah. Check us out in 2023, Smarty Pants.
It was a great event. We got poured on, but it also kind of made the bands get out there and hurry up and do their performance. So
How was the crowd?
the crowd was good. There was no
Yes.
problems. At least when I was there was no problems. There was no issues. So it was a good crowd. Family event. Everybody was having fun, and it was a good time. We had really good seats, so I had a good time. I love stuff like that anyway. So
I wanted to go, but I kind of forgot about it. I was so caught up into this little Saturday morning football game thing that I was like, something else is going on today. And then I got home and I started watching Netflix. It was a wrap.
Oh, okay.
Had some good food and laid on that,
Was you watching Dahmer?
It was next on my list, but then I went to sleep. I watched the Jazz Man's Blues. It was so good.
Is it?
Oh my God. You
Okay.
seen that? Okay. You're not allowed to talk yet because they don't know you're here. Even though I'm asking you questions, right? Hey,
Like,
y'all,
stop talking to me.
I'm not
then.
talking to anybody. I just like to do that sometimes. Mental health thing that I deal with.
Right. Okay. I am on so with Dahmer, there are 10 episodes.
Oh,
And
really?
It's 10 episodes, and it is very graphic. It's very graphic. But see, I love stuff like this.
Right.
I love Criminal Minds, shows like that. I love those things. So it really kind of gave me a deeper insight as to what his overall mental health and everything was. And I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't want you guys
So
to.
are you
I don't
on
wanna
there
blow it.
analyzing him and trying to figure out his DSM-5?
Listen, I don't even want to figure out him. He's
all that crap. But she kept her distance. She was glad them cops grabbed
your
her.
cousin.
She ain't crazy. You go there and get beat on your neck if you want to. He ain't your brother. Calm down. Anyway, I'm gonna have to check it out
so
though.
silly.
I didn't know it was a 10-parter.
It's 10 episodes, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
on 9, and I just started it. So I kind of been. So each episode is like between 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
gotta check it out. So does it start with his childhood?
So it bounces back and forth.
Okay.
And when you start watching it, you will see kind of where he start getting some of this from. But I'm gonna be quiet because
Okay,
I don't
well
want to.
then let's let him be great then.
Yeah.
All right.
So again, welcome to the Rebirth on Philly Jams 95.3. Tonight we have a great show for you. If you guys want to join us, feel free to give us a call at 267-908-3166. Make sure you follow us on our iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcast. And also shout out to Chi-Town, who is currently listening in. We are syndicated there.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. All right, so we're going to go to right here, right now.
Yes, I'm just going to wait for my cue like I should.
We don't have a cue. You go right on to it.
So, y'all, tonight's right here, right now. We're going to talk about Ime Udoka. I don't know if any of you know who that young man is. He is the head coach of the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
He is also long-term companion. I heard they have a spiritual marriage, whatever that part means. He's a long-term companion of actress Nia Long.
Okay, I heard this story.
Okay, now you got it. So apparently, Mr. Ime was having an consensual affair with a team staffer for the Boston Celtics. And everything's came to light. I heard the investigation started about a year ago, and things came to light. And apparently, the Boston Celtics have a strict policy of no fraternization, which I find that a little odd because it's professional sports, and this and that. However, this lady was in charge of booking flights for the team and for things like that. She was also booking flights for Nia Long to come back and forth to Boston for games, and even when she moved to Boston a couple of weeks ago. So I'm just like, she's pretty bold. Apparently they broke it off, but Ime was still kind of pursuing her, and some people caught wind of it, and things have come to light. So now Nia's in Boston with her husband, who she has found out has been having an affair.
Well, they're not married.
Well, her spiritual husband. That's what they called it.
Just thought I'd put that out there.
Okay, their spirit. Hey, well, they got this kid, so the child support gonna be tough, bro, because you make a lot of money. So I suggest you try to work that out. Not just for the child support, but just try to work that out if you can. But here's my thing: when I saw the staffer, we'll just call her that because I don't know her name. They showed a picture of what they believe the woman is. Yo, fellas, start cheating up, please. Like, we got to do better if we're gonna jump out there and do that.
The advice
They gotta at least look better than the wifey. What are we doing? If you're gonna cheat, and I'm not inviting any man to cheat, but if you're gonna cheat up. What are we going backwards for? Why are we going backwards?
But that's usually the case.
And women too. If you're gonna cheat, listen. If my wife gonna cheat on me, she better get Idris Elba because I'm pretty fly.
Oh my God.
Really, the bar is higher with this joint right here. You're gonna have to go and step your game up, sis. But I'm just saying, again, of course, I'm not advocating cheating. But dang, if I'm gonna get caught, it's gonna have to be like, damn, dog, I kind of see why you might have did that. I can't say that to him. I can't look at him and be like, okay, Ime, I see you, dog.
Right.
I might have did that too. I'm looking at you
now
like,
I gotta
fool.
go look at the picture.
See if you can pull her out. It's just a
But
basic,
is it so?
whatever. Like,
I'm just asking.
yes.
Question.
What's your question?
But is looks everything? Maybe she was, there was a deeper connection that, look at Amari Hardrick's wife. Everybody dragged him and dragged her when they found out.
Tough in the face. She's a little tough in the face. Let's just keep it 100.
But his looks everything now.
Looks, well, for men, because we're visual, we start there. Most men do. I'm not going to say every man, but most men start, like I say, we're visual. We don't meet a woman, and if she has everything we physically want, we're like, damn, she got a great personality. We're not even worried about that in the beginning. You know what I mean? Unless we're trying to make something with you, then all those other things become a factor. But not off the top. Look, when I first meet you, and if I'm physically attracted to you, then I don't care about your personality or how loving and caring you are. It's just weird. I don't know.
No, I get it. I get it. But I will agree with you, though, when usually it is someone that looks a little bit challenged than the wife. I didn't.
It's a very nice way of saying ugly. She said challenged.
Challenged.
We call it tough in the face. All right, moving on. So any advice for Udoka? He's been suspended for a year. He's going to lose his salary for the entire season.
Consequences. We have to be, when we're making choices, especially I don't know how old a man is, but
he's in his 40s.
At a certain age, at some point, like, when are we going to stop? You know? So he has his consequences. He has to face his consequences. I have no advice for him. Absolutely not.
Meanwhile, Brett Favre is robbed the state of Mississippi welfare for $7 million. No one's talking about that. But that's a whole nother topic. We'll get into that next year because I want to shine light on his punk ass too. We ain't gonna just talk about the brother. But yeah, we'll come back to that next.
Okay.
Yeah, and from the poor, from the welfare system of the state of Mississippi, the poorest state in the union.
Wow.
Where there are poor black and white folk down there that are struggling, and he has taken $7 million.
Wow.
The governor is apparently in on this. The people are aware of it, and so we'll talk about that though next week.
Well, you already done started the conversation.
Well, no, because I want to devote some time to that. I want to devote some time in the disparities of how ESPN, how all these different places are covering these two stories. Basically, what Ime did, he didn't rape this lady. It was consensual. It was wrong, but that's his personal business. Brett Favre has defrauded millions of dollars from people that are on welfare in the state of Mississippi. That's a problem for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my mama from Mississippi, so I got some ties there. However, now moving on to a great thing.
Yes.
As you guys know, the Rebirth, we like to celebrate Black History Month every month and every week. So tonight I'm going to talk about Miss Minnie Cox. Miss Minnie Cox was the first African American appointed as postmaster in the state of Mississippi. There's a theme here with Mississippi, right?
Yeah, it is. I see.
So the people in Mississippi had an issue with Miss Minnie Cox being the postmaster there. They were trying to pressure her out of her position, which they did due to threats and everything to her and her family. But President Theodore Roosevelt stepped in to reappoint her. And so tonight, I just want to celebrate Miss Minnie Cox, the first African-American postmaster in the state of Mississippi.
Wow.
And she was also a school teacher prior to that.
Okay.
So let's just give Miss Cox some love over there. Applaud for Miss
That's
Minnie
what's
Cox.
up.
This
Nice.
is your Black History Moment here on the Rebirth Show.
Look at you. All right. Good job, Eli.
Thank you. I try to enlighten them when I can.
All right, guys. Again, welcome to the Rebirth. We are so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to introduce I can't even say guest because she's a friend. She's also a friend of the show. She was also on our Rebirth Live panel, our first live show. And it's always an honor and a pleasure to have her in the building. She is the founder of Women of More LLC. Please welcome the amazing, the awesome, the beautiful Miss Michelle Washington.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Get a little applause.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Thank you for
I don't
having
know what to
me.
give her. I don't know what to give her. Clap, snaps.
Snaps.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, last time you was here, he wasn't here, right?
correct.
Oh, man.
So we've never been on together.
Nope.
No,
This
not
is your second or third time.
second.
I felt like I was here with her.
No. That's just how her presence, it just draws you in. You probably was listening.
The event.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
maybe I'm
live
telling the
event.
event in my head then.
Uh-huh.
Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing space with me.
I'm glad to be here.
I feel anointed and blessed already.
Amen.
Then we kept why
You
we kept
need
calling
it.
her first lady at the
I don't
thing.
know. I don't know.
Who started that? And then we
You
just
did. You did.
Did I start that?
Yes.
Shay told me you was a preacher's wife, and then maybe
No.
you didn't tell me that.
No, she did not.
Somebody told me this.
I think-
Why would I think this?
Somehow Levante said something and then, somebody was playing. Somebody said something, but it kept going. It just kept going.
And then I started watching what I was saying and everything. I was like, I can't cuss in front of the first lady.
No, you still cuss.
I don't want you though.
But you did.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
You just did tonight. You said ass.
That's not a curse word. We all know that that's a donkey. Let's
This
keep
is
it
gonna
one.
be great.
Anyway,
Yes.
Sorry.
Anyway, welcome back, Michelle. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So tonight we are actually going to be talking about healing trauma. Eli's interrupted me. We're going to be talking about healing trauma because we have a lot of people walking around here unhealed. And I don't think people really understand how trauma is showing up in their lives. Rather, it's showing up in their relationships, their behavior, even at work, you know? And the one thing that I do want to make clear is trauma is irreversible, right? Trauma itself is irreversible. But our reaction to our trauma is what can be changed,
Absolutely.
right?
Agree.
That's good.
We good on that? We understand? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we can't change what someone has gone through, their trauma. Um, on my way here, I was thinking how when we're born into this world, we're born with a clean slate. Some of us is, and the reason why I'm saying some, the reason why I'm saying some of us is because you have children that are born addicted, right? Because their mother was using.
Yep.
So that's not necessarily a clean slate because those little
Absolutely.
babies have to work through this whole addiction,
Mm-hmm.
right? But somewhere along the line, trauma is introduced. So the statistics are 1 out of every 3 women have been sexually abused.
Wow.
1 out of every 5 men have been sexually abused. And a lot of people have not even addressed it, have not even said anything about it because they have been afraid to talk about it. So they bury it.
Afraid to talk about it,
Mhm.
or they come from a generation when you don't talk.
You don't
about
talk
it.
about it.
So it's
Mhm.
two things: being afraid, or being in a culture
Mm-hmm.
or a time in life where whatever goes on in the house stays in the house. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I always, and we know that's really big in our community, in the Black community, in our families. That was really big. Why do you guys think that was something that was always said? What happens in this house stays in this house. Or the other thing was pray about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They went hand in hand. Really? Go ahead.
No,
So-
finish your statement.
No, I was just gonna say I think that it came with a certain amount of shame too, like to know that your uncle messed whoever messed with the little girl in the family or whoever, or the little boy. I think that we adapted that because it came with a sense of shame for number one, and I think it's just easier not to deal with it. To say, okay, are you gonna be okay? We know this happened. We'll keep Uncle Pete away from you, or whatever. But we move on like normal.
Mm-hmm.
But even it goes back deeper to that because what happened to Uncle Pete?
He was the one that was up in the attic. I'm being serious. He was the one that was up in the attic or in that room where
They took him his plate and
grandma
sat
or
outside the
your
door.
auntie said, "Don't go in there messing with him."
Yeah, but
He's
like
special.
right? He is okay.
Mhm.
Obviously. However, I guess like to me, most people like when you do things like that, when you affect people traumatically, a lot of times it's because it happened to you and it was normalized. No matter how traumatic it was a normalized thing. No one came to you and said it's gonna be okay. No one got you therapy. We just kind of went along with it, and it may have been a reoccurring thing. And so when things happen to us over and over again, we do the same. We take the same route to work every day. It's normal. This is my normal route. I always go this way. This is what happened to me. So I think because things become normalized, it allows itself to continue on and to fester. And then now that little kid, potentially these things could happen to someone in their one of their children, or they may could do it. You never know. I just think it's definitely generational if we don't stop it, nip it in the bud. I don't even. I feel like I'm all over the place with the
Well,
question.
no, you're making some valid points, but I think for me, I think this whole, whatever happens in the home stays in the home. I think it came from slavery, all the way back then, and it just cycled through our generation, and it's still going on because back then, whatever y'all did or whatever they did to them, they kept it quiet. They didn't have a voice, and they prolonged or kept that tradition, that phase of not saying anything, and it just went on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I
they
can agree with
handled the situation on their own. It wasn't no
Mhm.
such thing as calling the cops.
that. Right.
Absolutely.
So if someone became missing that you said something about, that was their law. That was their justice. But I think the whole mindset came from slavery.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's an example that I kind of go to at times when I'm trying to explain trauma and just in our culture, period, of even how we disciplined, back in the day, belts, extension cords, and
Yeah.
switches and stuff like that. when you talk about slavery, you think about the man or woman that was being sold, or the one that just got whipped, and the woman that was just raped by,
Master.
master, right? All of those things. No one said, wait a minute, would you like to speak to a therapist? Would you like to get therapy for that? No, all of that stuff they just took in,
Yeah.
and it just kind of is handed down generation.
And even then, though, their lives depending on them not making a fuss about
Absolutely.
what happened to them. But that hasn't been our case within our own homes. That hasn't been our case in a long time. I agree. To be completely honest, I think that everything that we deal with from a traumatic perspective, or that we've gone through, or that we continue to subject ourselves to, I think it all stems from slavery. I think it all stems from we watch these people bring us over here, and they're some of the most violent, cruel killers, rapists. So that's what we were exposed to. So how do we not take on some of those characteristics, along with keeping our little secrets? Say, let's make sure this stays in the cabin. We don't want master out here mad about A, B, C, and D, and put that damn book away. You can't even read. So everything was a secret. Even learning to read, whatever our traumas were, everything was a secret.
Right.
And that's where we talked about in the beginning. I said, why do we do this in our community? Why do we keep secrets, right? So, and you did say that comes from slavery, and you're talking about it again. Everything was a secret,
Right.
so it's being
Safety.
passed down, right?
Yeah.
What traits? I'm gonna ask you guys. If you think about your personal traits, characteristic traits, what traits that you may have had from one of your parents? Could be anything,
right?
or have.
Well, for me,
Had or have.
and I'm still working on it. My father, he was, I'm a daddy's girl, and he would start projects around the house. And it would last for a lifetime. I mean,
Like construction on 95.
it would last for a lifetime. That drywall it would still be up for years. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking I don't know what's happening. But that's a trait, when it comes to projects around the house.
That's a good one.
Wow.
What about you?
I think that one of the things I got from my mother, because I didn't know my father. I heard he was a great guy. I think the thing I got from my mother, I saw my mother always helping old people in our neighborhood. When they needed rides to the doctor, they needed rides to the grocery store, and I think I got my helping spirit from my mother. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah, I think that's why I do. That's why I do the work that we do, and I'm out here running around with these kids every day. I just saw my mother always giving of herself, and to the point where I think I didn't recognize it then, but looking back on it, I know it was exhausting, but she never stopped, and I see that in me. Now that might not be necessarily a good thing that I don't stop, because sometimes I'm exhausted. But if someone calls me, if it's a Saturday at 10 p.m. and I know it's one of my 15-year-old boys calling me, I feel a need to take that call.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's good and bad.
Okay.
So that's one of the traits I know I got from Rosie.
Okay. So the reason why I asked that question is because trauma shows up as traits. When it's left unhealed, it become part of you. And so think about a
That's
mother, right? Think about a mother that has been, let's say she's been through abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and then we have the complex trauma as well. It's just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma, and now she's raising this child. Okay, she's not healed. She hasn't gone through the process of healing herself to be able to function in a manner where she can raise a healthy child, right? At some point, how she parents or how her behavior is based off of her trauma start to now become part of her child's
Absolutely.
characteristics,
Absolutely.
right? So this is when I would see kids, and you can understand this, that have extreme anxiety, and we're doing therapy with these kids, and we're like, well, where did it start? So the kid will go back as far as they can remember. They may say, oh, it started in 5th grade when I had to start middle school. Oh, some of them may go a little bit further back, right? But it's really not the kid's anxiety. It's the parents' anxiety.
Amen.
It's just that that's how they were raised under umbrella of anxiousness because their parents was full of anxiety that it now became their own personal.
And they're displaying it based upon their maturity.
Right.
And sometimes the maturity or immature traits or behavior comes out in so many ways.
Yeah.
Can't sit down in class, fussing,
Yes.
cussing, or just
Yes.
angry, won't listen,
Yes.
Yeah.
not responding correctly. And we sometimes, make it seem like I've seen this in school where some of the teachers don't understand or don't have the conversation, and they get penalized for
Right.
the behavior without trying to find out why the behavior is the way that it is.
Exactly.
One of the things I
Exactly.
do, so before school starts in August, of course, we have all these trainings, right? So one of the things that I try to drill home, I still feel like they don't hear me, but one of the things I try to drill home is that the kids were getting, even though I work for Head Start,
Okay.
so we're getting 3 to 5 year olds. These kids are coming to us at 3 to 5 already with trauma. And not just the trauma that they experienced while whatever their parents were doing, popping pills or weed or whatever they were doing while they were carrying the child, or the abuse or they were going through physical or whatever. But they come into this world having witnessed somebody being shot or stabbed. And I tell a story, even though we have new teachers, I tell the same story about this kid that came from Mexico. The parents, the mom, the grandmom, the little boy and his sister, the mom had paid this guy to bring them to the States. And when they got to Texas, the guy raped the little kids, the little boy that we had in our program, raped his mother. Well, he was trying to rape her, and she was resistant. And the grandmother, they were fighting him. And he shot the mom and killed her.
Wow.
Now, this boy is 4. So he now gets all the way up to Delaware. And we now have this kid that's 4 years old that has seen his mother be killed, his grandma beaten. And he's in a foreign place. He doesn't speak the language. So, and that's an extreme example. But the kids around us every day that are in the city of Wilmington, they all come to us with some kind of trauma. And I try to tell the teachers, these kids are acting that way. But there's a reason why. They're not just bad. Like,
Yeah.
just stop just saying they're bad.
Yeah.
These kids have seen stuff that at 50 I haven't seen.
Right.
Sometimes, they've seen the mom get slapped around, get beat up. They've seen the cops kick down their door and arrest their father or their uncle for selling drugs. They've seen all of these things already, and then they come to us. And I try to reiterate that we are the only stableness that they have for 6.5 hours a day. We have to make sure we give them that, and it's hard because sometimes those kids really act out. But look what they've seen. So yeah, it's hard. We're getting them earlier and earlier with trauma. From the community, like you're 5 and you don't like the police. You're 5. Do you know your last name? How can you say you hate the cops?
Yeah.
But they've seen the cops come in and then they hear these conversations because all of these kids are involved in all of the grown folks' business. Like that was different for us.
That's a different.
They're involved in all of the adult conversation. They're privy to it, so they know.
Yeah.
They participate in it. The songs they are allowed to sing. I mean, it's so much that they're allowed to do at 5,
Yeah.
4, 3.
Yep.
Even when we're on TikTok and all this kind of stuff, it's okay for the girls and the boys to dance and pop and all that other kind of stuff. And this is the thing, and I don't know how many people will agree with this, and I dislike it now when people say, well, it starts at home. Absolutely. Absolutely, it starts at home. But then when you look at the parents that are home, they are the ones with the root of the trauma.
Right.
So don't keep
Exactly.
saying, well, their parents need to be involved. Well, the parents are the ones with the trauma.
They're the ones with the trauma.
And they are feeding the children
Yep.
with the trauma,
Yep.
arguing, yelling. And I'm thinking, like, you can't just say it's the home. The home is
Right.
the problem.
Right.
It
Right.
probably is, but are we doing anything
Right.
for the parent
Yeah.
to help the process? It's nothing wrong with us helping the kids, the young kids, and I think we're supposed to do that. But if we're not bringing the parent or the guardian into the what is it? The solution.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we're really not doing the full. We're just putting
Absolutely.
a Band-Aid.
I agree.
Absolutely. And we see this all the time and just with working with children, teens and stuff like that. that's why it's important when we're doing sessions and therapy that we're including the family.
Absolutely.
So if you don't want to come in, don't bring me your child and say fix it. Don't do that. Don't. I mean, people do it though. They be like, "Can you fix her or fix him?" You know. Right. No, you need to sit into these sessions as well, right. Because it's everybody has to be connected. Even when it comes down to the teachers, and to shed light on that, you'll have a kid go to school, and maybe they're not following directions, right? Not all teachers, but some teachers starts yelling at this kid. But guess what? The kid gets yelled at home all the time.
Yep.
So school is actually the kid's safe place. Right. It's a safe
Should
haven.
be.
So now you come to school and now the teacher's now yelling and screaming, right? You know, when COVID took place, we were so worried about the kids because they had to be home with dysfunctional parents.
Right.
A lot of these kids, school is their safe space. It's where they eat. It's where they get the majority of their meals. So when COVID happened, a lot of kids, and this is why you saw the suicide rate go up, right. Like everything just increased all of a sudden, right? Even divorces. People realized who they was married to because they couldn't.
24 hours a day.
They couldn't be shut in
just
with them,
me
you know?
and you.
So it's just like, it's honestly, I look at it as a community thing.
I was going to say that, Shay. I remember when I was substituting several years ago, and this one student, black guy, he had his hoodie on, so you can't wear hoodies in the school. And the teacher I was working with, she was white, and the guy came in late, and she started, like, no, you're not, you have to take off your hood. And he said, I'm not going to take off my hoodie. And I could tell it was something because I'm just, and she said, no, go inside. So everybody was outside playing, but he had to go inside. So I walked inside. I said, yo, what's up, man? What's going on? He said, my barber cut my hair wrong. He messed up my hair.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, what's going on? Why won't you take off your hoodie?
Yeah.
You're penalizing me because I'm feeling bad about this situation.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bullied by the kids because my hair is wrong.
Right.
You're just telling me to remove myself from the environment that could, help me feel better.
Right.
And we're missing it. We're missing it.
I think that too goes back to them not understanding our children and the culture. Like, it's easy. Like American history has been flushed down our throats from elementary school all the way through. They don't know us, so they can't. Like, we can go and work with some white kids and they'll get it. But you put some white people in front of a bunch of black kids, and unless that person's lived in a certain community or he has these group of friends that he knows like the ins and outs of, well, not you never know the ins and outs because you're not one of us, but you know somewhat of how things go in that community. I think that makes it harder because you don't understand me. You grew up here out in the suburbs. You went to this private school and you went to this university. And now you're sitting here in front of me at this charter school. You don't understand me. And I don't understand you. So I think we do our kids. I definitely wish we had more black educators. I think we're starting to have a lot now. But a lot of people, as soon as they get the chance, they move into administration. And I ain't mad at nobody for getting more money, becoming a principal. But I just feel like just recently I had the opportunity to apply for executive director of Head Start. I did not, though, only because now I'm away from the kids. And I don't feel like I'll be serving my purpose by sitting up in the main office on 10th and Orange Street instead of being over there on the west side in the trenches with those little babies. I still need that part. So I think we need to get back to, I don't know, we just got to be out in front of these kids and let them see us in a positive way. Because what they see around them every day and sometimes in their home is atrocious. So we have to give them what we can give them when we have them. The parents have to come to therapy. I agree with that. But 90% of the time, at least in our experience at Head Start, they don't show up.
Right.
Right.
We're not going to not give them what they need because at least hopefully we can kind of balance it a little bit.
Yeah.
We know we're giving you these tools and then sending you back into the lion's den.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll click for them as we're just planting seeds right now. I get it. They're little. We're not doing a whole lot of talk therapy. But I want them to at least learn how to resolve issues. Every issue does not have to be resolved with me hitting you because I'm mad. And that's what kids that we work with. Every situation is resolved by, I'm gonna take it from you because I want it. It's my turn. I'm taking it now. So I think if we could start there, then that goes a long way down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Yeah. And the kids in therapy, you're pretty much like you said, you're putting Band-Aid on it, but you're giving them coping skills to cope with what's going on at home.
Right. Right.
And we're not solving it, especially if the parent is not involved. But it's just like, if you can just get through this,
Yeah.
this is not always going to be your life. You know, it will change. So that's the kids. That's, you know, that's a conversation about the kids. But Michelle, I know you do work with men in the prison. What have you noticed about, I guess, the trauma that you may experience with talking to some of the inmates there?
The same thing that we're talking about now.
Okay.
You know, they started young, whatever community they came from. They would see the older men doing what they're doing, or their fathers, their mothers, or whomever, and that will be their hopes and dreams to be like what they see. There was this one guy in my last class, and I could tell that he was resistant. He wasn't disrespectful, but his presence was just cold. But I still pursued him, and come to find out, his mother passed away maybe a month before I came, while he was in prison.
Oh, wow.
So outside of the trauma that he experienced as a young guy, getting in a life of selling drugs, now incarcerated, and losing your mother while you're incarcerated, it's just layers of stuff.
Yeah.
The main thing that I notice with the men that are incarcerated, they don't know who they are. And then that's my number one question. I said, who are you? And I
Yeah.
say it just like, I said, who are you? And like, I'm a father. And I said, don't tell me you're a man. I know you're a man.
Yeah.
Who are you? Well, I'm this. I said, no, that's not who you are. That's what you're responsible for.
Right.
But I have learned that they don't know who they are. And if you ask kids the same question, they won't know. Well, some, they won't know who they are.
Yeah.
So it just lingers, and we got to find a way. And I love what you guys are talking about, how you teach and help the young kids about how to execute in life. But we have to do it like 10x almost, because time is moving faster.
Yeah.
They have different things and resources at their fingertips. The home, even churches, is not the first place that they run to anymore.
Right.
Right.
So what do we do?
Yeah.
So these men, and just trying to get them to see who they are and let them know their responsibilities. And me as a woman telling them, again, is kind of off sometimes,
Right.
because it's still a woman
Right.
trying to build up a man when it's supposed to be the man building up along with the wife
Right.
or the woman.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Yeah. And that's very that example that you gave, that's real life. You know, even within a lot of the relationships, it's the woman constantly trying to build up the man. And then the men still don't feel validated, and this is when we start talking about going outside of the relationships to get that validation. Something's missing. There's a disconnect there, right? And a lot of us don't know who we are. That question, who are you? Who are you? A lot of people don't know across the board. Men, women, children, they don't know. They know what they're supposed to do. They know what their parents told them,
I think that's a
all
good
these
point.
labels.
Yeah.
But who am I? And this is why when you don't know who you are and you're making decisions and choices and stuff like that, especially if there's trauma, you're making choices based off your trauma.
Right.
Which leads them into the system, because the system is created for those that are discovering life in the streets or influenced by things that's not right.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
one thing that goes with not knowing who you are, I always tell the guys at day one when I meet them, I said, I love you. And that's not prison talk. And they look at me like, how you going to love me? And I said, all right. I said, after these 24 weeks, you're going to tell me, before these 24 weeks are over, you're going to tell me you love me too. And sure enough, they do. And you know why they do this? It's because I'm consistent. I'm a promise keeper. I say what I mean, and they could pick up on you being real. And I think that's the same way with kids. They know the difference. They know the
Absolutely.
difference when someone is teaching them out the book or just teaching because this
Yep.
is my job versus I'm teaching you from my heart. I love
From a
you.
place of love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to do better.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want for the guys that are incarcerated. I want you to know who you are before you come out of here, because when you get out, life is going to try to suffocate you. I tell them your children are going to want your attention. Your wife or your girl wants your attention. You're going to have to get a job. Then you're going to have to get a PO. Then this, that. And you're not going to have time. It's going to be so much till you're going to go back to your old traits
Right.
and get you right,
Right.
back in this system.
Yeah. And you doing all of that for them
Mm-hmm.
created is you were creating a safe space
Mm-hmm.
for them to be vulnerable, for them to be able to open up. And that's something that, and you know, you're a man, so you can speak on this. That's something that a lot of men don't feel comfortable doing, is being vulnerable.
Absolutely. And for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the chastisement of, or you being called weak, or you're too emotional, you're too sensitive. Yeah, men don't want to be associated with those phrases.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that makes you look remotely weak or soft or whatever, we don't want to have anything to do with that. Now, when you get a certain age, when we don't live off or function off our ego as much, I mean, we'll always do that because we're men. But I think that when we put things into perspective, those phrases and those things don't scare us as much. And I think it's healthy we don't know it. When you're younger, there's things I could say to, like even to you. Like I can be open with you. I can be open with my wife. And there's things I would never say to women back in the day in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, girl, I'm the hardest walking out here. I'll kill everybody in here. All right, air this room out. No, I ain't going to do that, but I'll
Right.
say it. But however, my point is, I'm not guided by my emotions. And if there's something I can receive from somebody, whether it be a woman, whether it be a man, whether it be, I don't know, just a transvestite, I don't know, a tranny.
But where did you get that from? When did you become okay to express your feelings or emotions?
I'm gonna say probably in my 30s. Like I learned to communicate better. So part of communicating better is being able to express your feelings, and it also, I think I had people that I could trust to share that with me, and it wouldn't be thrown back in my face. So that's always key.
That safe space.
That safe space, because the
Yeah.
minute if the minute you're sharing and it comes back and you later, like, oh, this weak ass dude, girl, you should have heard what he was saying. He was on the phone being all sensitive. The minute that gets back to us, shut down.
Right.
And we may not ever get back to that point again with the next person or the next group of people or the next woman. And so it's a fragile little thing, but you have to definitely be comfortable with yourself and confident to be able to put that out there, even if you don't get the response that may be healthy for you. It's okay, because putting it out there is a help within itself to get things out. We got to get things out, no matter how it looks. We have to get things out, especially men and everybody, but men in general, because we walk around like all this pent up anger and frustration, and we want to, that's why we kind of incarcerated. That's why we're out here hurting each other. We see another dude, and he bump up against us, step on my Jordans, and now I got to fight. I got to kill him.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So yeah, we have to get to that.
We do have a question from, I don't know if it's Ella Baby Girl.
It's Eli Baby Girl Mars. This is actually my
Okay.
sister in Michigan.
Oh, hello. Thank you for tuning in.
Tony.
So she says, can a parent hide it from the child?
I'm assuming she means
I'm
the
assuming
trauma.
the trauma. Can a parent hide trauma from a child? Either one of you want to talk about that?
I would say it has to be like a young child, but not like a elementary 10, 11, 12, 9, and up, that they're aware of the situation. They probably don't know it's trauma
Yeah, they don't
at
know what
a
to call
young
it.
age.
Yeah.
But it's something.
So that's what I was thinking, right? So it goes back to the traits. I think that if the child is young, it's not, you're hiding it. You think you're hiding it.
Yeah.
But once the child starts to grow up and realize that that's not normal behavior, at some point you will probably be addressed with it, right? So you can hide it to a certain point, but then at some point, what is the problem with us having conversations with our kids about what happened? Granted, I'm not saying that you have to tell them. So let's take a couple, a mom and dad, um, maybe there was some type of infidelity or whatever happened, but the couple is not together anymore, right? So now the child is going through the whole process of the parents splitting up with the divorce, okay? But never told what happened. Just dad's not here anymore or mom's not here anymore. And then you grow up still not knowing what happened, what took place. I just know that my parents was divorced, right? So what are the odds that you will tend to make the same mistake or the same choices or display the same behavior in your relationships? You can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. You can't change what is not, if mom or dad is not sitting down and say, hey, listen, we're not together because, mommy made some bad decisions or daddy made some bad decisions. Okay, let's have a conversation. I don't want this to be generational anymore. It stops here. It stops here. Now, I do believe that it should be a certain age. It depends on your children, how mature they are, right? But at some point, you have to sit down and talk to your kids and help them navigate through life. Life is hard. It's very challenging, and if they don't have the tools to be able to navigate through some of these things, they're going to continue to repeat the same behavior. And guess what? They're going to pass it down to their children.
Right.
And now we're generational. I mean, all the way down the line, dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
The same stuff. So kids are very, very smart, and they absorb everything. So you might think that your child is not aware or don't know, but I promise you, they're feeling. Kids, they feel. They know when something is off. We don't even have to say anything, but they know when something is off. It could be by your behavior. It could be by your mood. It could be by your silence, not even talking or saying anything, right? So can a parent hide it from a child? I think at a certain
To a degree.
Yeah, but it's going to surface.
And just to answer her, she says, I lost a child. I know my little niece, Nunu. I lost a child, and I did everything I could not to let them see me hurt. But I think that's healthy too for them to see, because that's a part of who we are as humans. We have all these different emotions, and life comes at us, and life happens. So I don't think I know you want to protect your kids as much as you can, but sometimes we protect our kids to their detriment, and then they're out here and they're unprepared. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that it's okay that you see that, I'm hurt over dad leaving, or we lost our baby sister.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But here's the key. You have to also let them see you get back on the horse and figure things out.
Good, Eli.
So that is okay to see me hurting, but now you got to show them the other side. How do we cross over back to the other side where we're moving forward and being positive? I think you can do both.
Yeah. I had some experience with this when I got a divorce, and it was very hard and a lot of trauma with that. And what I would do is cry in the shower. I never would cry in front of my girls for a very long time. And after going through counseling and just understanding all the stuff, because it's a lot of stuff that goes through your mind and emotions when you're getting a divorce or any type of form of anything. And once I understood, my girls is growing up, I had to show them, they experienced the sacrifice, they experienced the hardship that we went through. But like you said, Eli, I had to say, well, that's where we were.
Yeah.
But this is where we're going, and this is how we're going to get out of it, because our kids are going to become us one day.
Absolutely.
And they can't go through life just pent up with their emotions and not knowing how to express it. That's what we see it now.
Absolutely.
On the news, all these kids are just they are wilding out. Like, why can't you just say something's wrong, or your feelings, like we've been saying? That's the thread tonight of just communicating your feelings. I was watching on the news, and some teens went into Wawa up in Philly and just trashed it. Why? Like, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
And everybody, nothing. Why can't you express that? But sometimes it comes from the home or the environment or wherever. And I had to be honest with my daughters and telling them when I didn't know what to do, or didn't know how we was going to get through that. But now they can say, you know what, we went through that. This is what I need to do. And even now I'll tell them, take a deep breath, take a step back, get quiet so you can understand or make the right decision. Don't feel like you got to be like this all the time.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
Once again, showing them different ways to navigate through life.
Absolutely. That's good. That's really good. I think too, a lot of us, rather it's and this young lady, she had a loss of a child. I can't even imagine that pain, and I am deeply sorry for your loss. What's important is we have to give ourselves permission to grieve.
Yeah.
And that's even a divorce. Divorce is a loss. It's a loss of what you thought your life was supposed to look like when you made those vows. And when that's interrupted or is blindsided like that, that's a major loss. And you have to grieve that. You have to grieve it. Otherwise, guess what? It's going to show up in your next relationship.
Right.
It's going to show up in your next relationship. And that's why it's so important. I never, and I'm not putting anyone down that does this, but I feel when you come out of a relationship, especially if it was a marriage, you got to give yourself time. You got to spend time with yourself to find out who you are, right?
And it's okay.
It's okay.
It is okay to
Yes.
wait.
It's okay. Some of us, want to jump right back in to something because they're trying to mask the pain that they're actually feeling by trying to get someone else to love them, But how can I ask you to love me if I'm not loving myself? How would I even know
Right.
what's a healthy love if I'm not doing that for myself?
Absolutely.
And that goes probably back to that little boy or little girl or teenager. I'm not talking about the little 5, 6 year, but because those individuals keep going back and forth into relationships, well, we probably have to go all the way back to when this trend started with you.
Right.
Because if you're always with a different guy or different girl all the time, you're never alone. You're never by yourself.
Exactly. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And you see it a lot. A lot.
I call it the Holly Berry syndrome.
Right.
I know some people like
Perfect
that.
name. Yeah.
You're always with somebody.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about this, so, and I don't have a problem sharing, as you guys already know, but the problem about this is certain things.
I was about to say, because you be mum's a word over there. But
Certain things. So when I went through my divorce, I was single for 6-7 years before I decided to enter into a relationship again, right? And I enjoyed it. It was hard getting back into a relationship.
Pimp hand was strong.
Whatever.
Stronger than Hulk Hogan. That pimp hand was strong. I heard slam.
I enjoyed it because I never dated before. I was always in a relationship, but I also realized that came from not having a relationship with my own father. So it was a thing of, I want someone to choose me because I didn't feel that my dad chose me, and I didn't have that relationship. So I was seeking love from a male, but really it was from the love I wanted to receive from my own father, right? So, but if I look back on those relationships, I always felt insecure. My self-esteem was low. Always felt like I wasn't enough, right? So being married for 16 years and then now I'm single, I had to figure out, why did I tolerate certain things? Why did I allow myself, to put up with certain behaviors, So if you're not doing the work and getting yourself healed and loving on yourself and dating yourself, take yourself to dinner, take yourself to a concert. You don't have to wait for someone else to do that for you. So when that person does show up, they're just adding. It's an extension of happiness that you already have for yourself. But it's people are having a hard time seeing it that way.
Yeah.
They want to come in with 50% and not realizing it takes 100% from you and 100% from that person
Absolutely.
to make that relationship. So if you're coming in unhealed and you're coming in with these, we talk about trauma bonds as well, or you hear someone say, why do I always end up with the same person? Right. Because
drawing, right.
That's what you're drawing.
That was so
That's
country.
what's
What you're
comfortable. I got country in me, you know that.
I said it first.
That's what that's what it is. But when you're healed and you realize how amazing you are as a person and you give yourself that self-love, it's gonna be different people, not even just in your intimate relationships, but your friendships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your friendships are even different. The people you are around are even different. So any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think I've never I think it's different for men because like how you say you need to date yourself and figure out what you like and don't like. I think part of the issue with men when we go through a loss, and it could be a relationship, 9 times out of 10, we don't have other men saying they'll say something like, "Well, dog, we don't chase them, we replace them." That'd be the motto instead of, "Yo, no dude has ever come to me and said, well, my heart was hurting over a woman back in the day." No dude has come and said, "Yo, man, just chill, work on yourself, get yourself together, and then get back out there." No man has ever said that to me. Men don't typically talk to other men in that way. Like, "Yo, let's go to the club." I think
Because that's the problem.
That is a problem. Absolutely. I mean, I recognize it now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that because it's all bravado and it's all ego and it's all right. Well, let's go
Surface.
back. Men are very surfacey with each other.
Yeah.
Men are. We don't get any deeper than a baby pool. Like, it's pretty shallow. It's sports. It's women. It's work. Maybe our cars. For the most part. Now I have some good friends that I can go deep with now, but not back in the day because remember that chastisement or that teasing I told you about? The brothers will tease you way more than a woman. Way worse.
Yes.
So you can't go to another dude and share at least when I was young, and share your most intimate feelings about a woman with some hurt or heartbreak. The only thing you may be allowed is the passing of your parents. You can be sensitive then, but then after that, all right, dog, let's it's okay. She's in a better place. You know what I'm saying? Find that hilarious. That's real though. Like, you can only.
No, I'm laughing at you just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, Michelle,
All right,
trying
dog.
to keep it straight.
Michelle got
Tighten
a
up.
mean right hook now.
I'm sorry. No, I don't want no smoke up in here.
You're fine.
I sue though. Look, I'm like the white folk. You did what? Get Simon and Simon on the phone. I would never see you. I'm kidding. But we can't be deep with. Most of the time, you can't be deep with other men. So it keeps us in a revolving door of BS. Because most men aren't going to go to therapy, and then the people you're confiding in, they give you the worst advice when you're younger.
You know what? And correct me if I'm wrong, or just give me a feedback with this. I think, and all the women are not going to like me when I say this. It's not always women, so just some. I think sometimes we're the problem because we are the one that raised these guys. When the little boy, they start to cry, stop crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when they become men, or we want them to show their emotions. But the mom already told them not to cry.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, let's think about that.
Absolutely.
Don't cry when you're young, but when you become a man, I want you to cry.
Open up.
I want you to talk to me. I want you to show me your feelings. But you raised them not to. And then if they do cry, oh, you a punk. You a punk.
Right.
Don't act like a girl.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Saturday morning, this kid at the football game got hurt. So we're at Newark High. So the bleachers are really close to the sideline. So you can pretty much hear everything that's going on. And this kid he was hurt, like he was crying. And one of the other dads, it wasn't his father, but it was another dad. He went down and was like, "Suck it up." And he was hitting him on the shoulder pads because the bench was like, and he can lean over. He was like, and this kid was already hurt. He was like, "Ow." Like, it hurt him when he's just like, hit him hard on his shoulder pads, like, yo, suck it up, let's go, we need you. But this kid was like, had tears in his eyes. And that's a prime example of how boys are not allowed to. He's hurting. Daddy listened, it hurt so bad it drew tears in his eyes. Like, let him have that moment. And men in particular, women too, but men, when they're around their sons, we don't want our sons to show that emotion because of how we were raised. And it's a cycle of, you know, and if you look at that man who's yelling at that boy when he's hurt, I wonder how he is in his relationship. Is he sensitive to his woman? Is he able to talk to her? Is he able to tell his son, you know what, son, it's okay that you felt this way? And we talk about it. Let's process this. But then we do have to move on, though. But 9 times out of 10, we're not even given that moment to where we can sit and process it. We just have to move on while we're still in the midst of the pain.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
It is, and I think it comes from both. You know, men do it to their sons, but
women go hard.
Women also do it.
Women go hard.
And I will also say you have a lot of women. Y'all might not like me either, but you have a lot of women that are raising sons, that are raising them in a way where they should be the head of the house. They're kids.
Yeah.
Let them be a kid.
They are not the man of the house. They are the boys
Yes.
in the house. And I dislike it. I dislike it when I hear women telling their daughters too to stop being emotional. Now, I understand there needs to be some form of balance, but again, we're causing or teaching our children not to be, I don't think it's normal, but to have a normal response to things. Yes, that hurt. Yes, that affects you.
Right.
But this is how you could come through it. You got to give them balance. And the thing is, it's so amazing to me that we teach our kids the opposite of what we wanted. We wanted our parents to understand what we were going through. We wanted our parents to listen to us.
Right.
We wanted our parents to understand, ouch, that hurt.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
But then we raised our kids the opposite.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, boys could do more than take out the trash, ladies and gentlemen. Boys can take out, they can do more than take out the trash.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we teach them that.
Yeah. This
Right.
is all you need to do is take out the trash. That's it. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the traits that is passed down. Trauma traits. It goes right back to that.
And here's the issue with your child, your son being the man of the house. When Mr. Earl started coming over there to holler at you, now we got a problem.
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl.
Couldn't find no updated name.
Tell your mom Mr. Earl outside. And then we got a problem because he's like, well, who is this joker coming in here? Now you and Mr. Earl progress. Now Mr. Earl's living with y'all. You got a problem. Because this boy's been the man of the house since he was 10. He's now 17.
Yeah.
And now Mr. Earl in here trying to set rules and standards. And I always say to people, let your child be your child. And I even tell my daughter, which we really talk a lot. But this is your childhood, right? This is where you get to have this is the amount of time, no responsibility, homework, clean your room, text, do whatever with your friends. Just get your schoolwork done and be respectful. This is the adult part of your life where you have all the responsibility.
All the responsibility.
Don't jump to this so fast because you're going to have this a lot longer than this.
Yeah.
Ride this out. And if you go to college for 4 more years, I even grant you a little bit more of this for the next 4 years. Because I know at 21, 22, after that, it's on.
Right.
So just chill. These kids do not, everybody want it so fast.
Yeah.
Just slow down.
Yeah.
That real world is out there waiting on you and it'll whoop your butt.
And I would piggyback off of that in regards to the parents, the same thing. You know, as parents, you have a small window. You only have, I know, when I say the number, some of you may say, well, that's a long time, but it really isn't. You really only have 18 years. Not even 18, right? I'm going to say you have maybe the first 15 years of your child's life to truly make an impact and a difference. Right. And I think that's even getting lower and lower because kids today, they're experiencing things at such a early age, you know? But my point is, it's a small gap.
Yeah.
So it's not, it has to be about the kids. It has to be about them. Whatever change, whatever work that needs to be done in that time frame, it's going to pass so quick.
Yeah.
So it's preparing them now.
Right.
You know, and you know, I mean, I think we all have a lot of healing to do, but you can't heal what you refuse to acknowledge.
Right.
If it's not brought to the table, you can't heal it. We got to stop normalizing dysfunctional behavior. Shout out to Drea. Drea said it's important to be trauma informed, be the help, not the hurt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a lot of people doing therapy that are going
Oh,
through
a
it.
lot of
Oh.
a lot of therapists
yeah.
are struggling as well. Absolutely. That's why, I mean, the first thing that I learned in grad school was every therapist should have a therapist.
Right. That's a real, but that's a real statement.
Absolutely.
That is real.
Every therapist should have a therapist. I mean, you think about the amount of information that comes that you have to take in every day.
Mhm.
You know, people's trauma. So we have something that's called secondhand trauma or vicarious
Right.
trauma, right? It didn't happen to you, but you go through the same motions that as if
Absolutely.
it did, right? And I used to feel that a lot when I did a lot of work with kids, because that was hard for me to separate being a mom and know how I treat my kids and a therapist. That was hard for me. Like, I was trying to take home some of these kids, you know, and it was hard. And, you know, you working with children, it's, you know, that's a lot. It really, especially if you really care, you know?
Right.
So, you know, you have to be able to have that outlet, you know, to be able to talk to other people. I do group supervision with my therapist every week. So they're able to come into a group and we talk about their cases, what's going on, right? Because I know that on top of everything you're dealing with your clients, you also got a life.
Right.
You also got some trauma. You also got some things that's going on.
Your kid acting up.
Your kid acting up,
Yeah.
you know, your husband just left and you trying to do couples counseling for somebody else. Like it's so much, right? So it's important for you know, for us to have someone a therapist. I'm lucky to have a lot of my friends are therapists or psychologists or whatever, or you know, they have a spiritual.
So you ain't cool with nobody who work at Walmart?
You know what?
Too
You
bougie
always
for me.
find whatever.
Too bougie for me.
You be quiet, right?
some
He
regular
just be
friends.
sitting there coming.
Some friends with a high school diploma only. They all right. No, I'll play. Shout out to everybody with a GED. It's all right.
I cannot with him. But my point is, it's important to be able to talk, not even just as therapists, but it's important, period. As people, you need to have someone that you can talk to. We got a question from, how do you start the conversation to move towards healing? It's a good question.
Who would like to take that?
How do you start
The conversation to move towards healing.
It depends on who you talking to. I think first of all, you should start with yourself. Everything starts with yourself. Be honest with yourself, and then go from there to determine who you need to talk to about healing. But I think you have to be honest and say, you know what, something's going on with me, and you know, sometimes we say we don't know, and you know that could be true, but sometimes you do know. You know what that trigger is. You know what the trait is.
Yeah.
You know where the sadness is coming from. So it's being honest with yourself. I think that's where you start.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
agree. I agree.
That's
And
good.
I'll also add to that to make sure that you don't put too much stock into people being willing to take this healing journey with you, because everybody's not going to be open to that or what you're saying, or they may be offended, or why you I did that to you. You're that reason because of me. So everybody isn't going to be open to your healing journey. So keep in mind that may be a solo trip, and which is okay. Because at this point, you're trying to heal from whatever you're doing. And if somebody's going to impede that, get in the way in any way, shape, or form, then you have to do it without them. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we have to be selfish. And I think when we have children, when we have wives and husbands, I think we get so caught up into giving, and making sure everybody is okay. And we forget about ourselves. You know, and I'm guilty of that. And I know, I can speak for a fact, I know you're guilty of that because we talk about it. I'm just saying, as your homie,
Yeah.
I'd be like, listen, you need to sit
I
down
know.
somewhere.
He do.
It's okay to sit down
You've
somewhere
been saying that for
sometimes.
years.
And just, you know, find whatever your little zen is and do that. You got the she shed in the backyard you sit in. I go out to my deck.
She's shed in the back.
She has a whole she shade back there.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, her
Michelle,
other-
don't pay him no mind.
You've been
He
over
calls
there,
it the she shed.
You've been over there, right, Tosh?
She's never been there. She's never been in my house.
Oh, that was me, you, and Jen. Oh, I had to get Jen to co-sign that. I'm sorry, we over.
Corey came by.
She shed in the back.
It's not. He's just
with
talking about the
little flowing
Oasis.
curtains,
I call it the Oasis. Yeah, it's not a
AKA
shed.
The she shed.
Whatever. Anyway, we are at our time. But I wanted to add to the question: how do you start the conversation to move towards healing? I'm going to speak from experience. For someone that was in limbo, of like stuck, you gotta become sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you have to get to a place where your peace is non-negotiable. When you are on that healing journey, also understand that you're going to have to make sacrifices, and those sacrifices may be financial. You may have to give up some things, right? But you always have to go back to, what is it that you want to receive? If I look ahead 5 years from now, what do I want to see myself doing? You want to visualize where you want to be at, right? So, and then work backwards from there. So if this is where I want to be at in 5 years, what steps do I need to take right now in order to be in that place? No one could have told me that 7 years ago I would be here, right? And then I also realized that I had to go through all of that in order to be here. So when people ask about my past, I'll say I'll go through it. I'll go through it all over again. It was hurtful. It was painful. It was dark. It was dark, right? But I'll go through all of that again, because I realized I had to go through that to discover who I am today. And I love who I am today.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a pretty cool person, right? I didn't feel that way years ago. I shared with this young girl I was working with. She said, Michelle, you always seem to have it together. You know, I want to be like, I said, oh, I had issues with self-love. I had issues with low self-esteem. I had times where I didn't want to be here anymore. But why aren't we having these conversations? And I think that's a problem in itself. We're not sharing that. We're not, because we don't want people to know that about ourselves. It's more people that have suicide ideations than not.
Right.
But they won't say anything. They won't talk about it.
Right.
But when we start to open, we begin to share, and it's something that a word that you use, common unity, right? When you begin to just connect and allow yourself, you realize, guess what? Y'all got the same story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the same story, because life happens. Life happens to all of us. We may have different versions, but it's the same.
It's the same thing.
So if you went through something and you are now in a different space where you got self-love, you're happy, you're healed, why wouldn't I want to talk to you and find out how you did it?
Right.
See, now this is where let me see. This is where the preacher going to come out. Now,
All right,
I'm
come
not
on then.
trying to preach to you, but that's why Jesus said to those that were healed, he said, "Now go tell them, your community, your family, me paraphrasing, your friends, what just happened to you."
Yep.
Because it's important. If I'm healed,
Yep.
if I'm made whole, if I'm well off now that I can see, actually everybody knew I was blind, but now I can see, go tell them how you became, how you was able to see.
Yep.
So if you have the answer, you have a solution that's going to bring me from feeling like I'm lost, knowing I need to be healed, know that I'm going through trauma. Why wouldn't you share with me
Exactly.
how to do it? Now it's up to you
Exactly.
to respond to what I'm telling you. But I'm telling you, you know my life story. You know what I went through. You know my story. You was there
Right,
with me.
right.
And now you see me different today.
Right.
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 Can I just give you a wow?
Yes, you can. I'm surprised you don't have any sound effects on that one.
You ain't gonna-
Good night.
So
She
like-
taking it in over there.
So like I need
She's
some
taking
Canton
it in.
spirituals or something playing in the background.
But
Yeah.
Shay, the other point too, the woman that you are right now, and I think I've shared this with you and with the other women, the woman that you are now is the woman that was with you when you were going through. You just had to remove the layers. Good night.
Yeah.
You had to
Wow.
remove the layers. Who we are. I got to tell them about the caterpillar. Y'all know about the caterpillar now. Do you know once the caterpillar makes the transition to the cocoon? The caterpillar dies in a cocoon and becomes a butterfly. Guess what, Eli? Guess what? You ain't even gonna realize. You're gonna realize it when I say it, but guess what?
What's that?
While the caterpillar is crawling on the ground, the caterpillar already have wings on the inside of it.
Oh wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Think about it.
Wow.
When the caterpillar transition and go into the cocoon, where are the wings coming from? They're not coming outside of the cocoon.
Right.
The wings are formed. Good night. The
Already in
wings
there.
are formed in him. He has to die to the old person to become the new person. But the new person is rocking with him while he crawling. The new person is rocking with him while he's feasting and going through the dirt and the scum of life, just like all of us.
Yeah.
Right,
Just
right.
like Shay just
Yeah.
said.
Wow,
Who she is
wow.
today. Who she is was with her. She just had to transition from Shay of old to the Shay of new. That's why
Yeah.
we are new creatures.
Wow.
Old things. The
Wow.
Bible says old things
Very
have passed
good.
away. Who I was,
Very
I
good.
don't rock like that
No.
anymore.
Nope.
The old things are passed away. Behold, look at me, I'm new.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that's how we have to be. That's how we have to move. We have to have
Absolutely.
such a passion, such a determination to move from where we are to where we want to be, where we see ourselves because it's in us. I'm not chasing anything because it's in
It's
me.
already there.
Good night.
Already
Lord,
there.
I'm
Woo!
done. I'm done.
Amen.
Boy,
done.
that blessed
Amen.
us. That was this definitely
This was great.
What a way to end the show.
Wow.
Wait, I was waiting for the good night, Michelle. I was waiting
night.
for it. I was waiting for it. What a way to end
That's
the
it
show. And
right
I
there.
actually got chills all over my body. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And, you know, it's important. That's where that rebirth, that's where it came from. Rebirth. That was my rebirth. When I talk about rebirth, my company and all of that, it was my rebirth. And when you talked about the caterpillar dying, that's what's spoken. Sometimes you have to die a little inside in order to be reborn. And that's what it is. So how do you get to that healing? You got to first want to heal. You got to first want to heal. Believe it or not, a lot of people stay stuck because it's comfortable and it's familiar.
Right.
So I'd rather stay stuck in this pain because I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like instead of stepping out. Why would you chance, you have a whole life to live. Why would you chance staying in something that is toxic, that's harming you? To just have the faith to step out and realize that you have a whole new world ahead of you where you can fly. You can be the butterfly. You don't have to continue to crawl like a caterpillar. Your wings are already there with inside you. But you got to want to heal. And it starts with you. All right, guys. Woo, this was an amazing show tonight. But speaking of healing, as we are going out, I want to remind you guys, if you have not purchased your ticket, I don't know where we are. Are we sold out yet?
Not yet, but close.
We're close. We have the Healing Circle that is coming up. It's called Healing Her. This Friday, September 30th, me and Michelle are going to be at.
Flyer right there.
Ain't
Look
it?
at Shay and Michelle
Look at,
right
look,
there.
look at that. Look, we are not playing,
Look at
right?
that, Shay. Look at that, Shay.
When's the album coming out?
I know.
We're going on tour, Shay.
Yes, yes. Healing Her, September 30th. Meet us at Glasgow Park. You want to go to Eventbrite and get your tickets. Get your tickets now, guys, because the tickets are moving fast. Bring your lawn chairs, your blanket, because it is getting a little cooler out there. So, and Michelle and I will take care of the rest. Get your tickets. Go to Eventbrite right now. Healing Her this Friday night at 6 o'clock, September 30th. So we are very excited about that. The next thing coming up, we have Rebirth Live Go ahead, say it. Volume.
Volume. You gonna make me say it. Volume 2.
All right.
Love, Lust, and Relationships coming at you November the 5th at 6 p.m. at Revive on 729 Philadelphia Pike. Listen, if you missed the first one, don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Come out and get with us, man. We're gonna have this. So a little added caveat. We're gonna do what we do and make it awesome. But then Shay has, we now have a DJ.
Yes.
So-
DJ Jersey 1 is going to be
Yes.
there and giving us some music. So, because I know a couple people wanted to get their little step on a little bit, but
know.
it will be music because afterwards we want to network. We want to network with each other, and we want to make sure that, we're supporting each other.
Absolutely.
Our businesses and just even, whatever it is that we're doing in the community, we want to definitely make sure that we have that time to network. So we
Absolutely.
extended the time. It's from 6 to 10. And just go to Eventbrite and look up Rebirth Live #2. .eventbrite.com to get your tickets. And I would like to announce our new panelist that is coming, Mrs. Allison Garrett.
All right.
So Allison is also a friend to the Rebirth. Allison has been on the show several times when we were down in Camden, Delaware, when we were on the Hottest Live. So Allison is going to be she's known as the prison coach. So Allison is going to bring a lot of information to this panel, and she's a great woman, and she has a great story. Talking about resiliency, speaking of healing trauma and all of that, Allison is going to bring her perspective to the panel. So I'm so excited to have her. And yeah, guys, get your ticket. Anything else?
No, I don't even want to mess it up. Like, I think I was about to say the first lady.
You better stop, Michelle.
I think
Yes.
Michelle, she summed it up awesomely, and you piggybacked off that. So I know my place.
Michelle, I know you have some things going on. Please share what you have going on, what's coming up for you. Yeah.
I think just healing her is the most important thing right now. I think it's going to be beneficial to women to understand what healing is all about and what could come from that. And it's just like one of the favorite stories in the Bible about the woman with the issue of blood. She came to herself and realized that she was spending her money. She was in this cycle of trying to get healed from everything but the right thing. And I believe that if they come to the Healing Her Circle on Friday, they'll be able to get some resources that they can use immediately.
Yeah.
Not somewhere 2 weeks from now, but that night.
Yeah.
So
Right.
please go and click the link if it's in the comments, and we'll put it there. But just follow Shay and I, and you'll be able to purchase a ticket. I
Yep.
think what is it, $20?
$20.
$20,
Yeah.
and that's just covering some of the different resources we're going to give you.
Yeah, absolutely. So bring your blankets and an open heart.
Yeah, and your chair.
And your chair. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Michelle Washington.
Yes, thank
My
you so much.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's always an honor to be in your presence, number one. And you always bring the heat. She always bring the fire.
I know she brought the
I
she
love
brought
to
the
hear her
she brought the
speak.
preacher out at the end.
I love to hear it.
But it's
When you
all
say
right. You
good
took me
night,
home.
listen, you lucky she ain't throw something in here tonight.
Yeah,
You lucky she ain't throw something.
yeah.
Well, come on in here and break some stuff next time. Not really, Tosh. Theoretically.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. Next Monday, we have the women, a few members from Women of Season is going to be joining us, and they're out of New Jersey, so I'm excited to have them on. And if you would like to be a guest on a Rebirth, reach out to us, info@rebirthu.com. That's the letter U.com. And let's hear your story. I would love to have you on. Any last words?
No, I mean, God is good. Thank you for tonight. I
My
received
pleasure.
about 90% of what you said.
Excellent.
Well, that's good.
Give me someone that.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
I'm growing. I'm trying to grow too.
You are growing.
My wings are, I can feel them underneath my skin
You feel-
fluttering.
You gonna be
They're not
flying
ready to
out
come
of
out
here
yet, but
tonight.
they're fluttering.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please have a blessed night. We'll see you next Monday.
Peace.
Good night.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow me at Philly Jam 95.3 FM.